evening. I would like to call the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting to order. It is 7 p.m. on June 16th. Shelley, can you take the roll, please?
Member Anderson,
Here.
Member Frew,
Here.
Member Hetrick,
Here.
Deputy Chair Hart,
Here.
Chair Geisel.
Here. So tonight we do have two applications. Before we get started on them, I want to thank everybody for being open to kind of the new little process of working in teams and kind of having it ahead of time. And so that I think it worked well. If you guys have any thoughts or whatever, we can work on it, but I think it worked okay. And Shelley and I, like in the future, if you can email resolutions to both of us, just in case there's like a glitch in the email, or, you know, even if you just call, if you say, okay, I need you to type it, Lori, but here's what I came up with, that's fine. That's great. So at least we both kind of, you know, we have a checks and balances and a backup plan. So, let's see. The minutes. We all kind of taking a look. Look at old ones. Anybody any thoughts on the meeting, any changes on the minutes? I will make the motion to approve the minutes of April 21st, 2022.
Second.
Member Anderson,
Abstain.
Member Frew,
Abstain.
Member Hetrick,
Aye.
Deputy Chair Hart,
Aye.
Chair Geisel.
Aye. So, our two applications. Shelley, can you read the public hearing notice for the register?
Notice is hereby given that pursuant to the provisions of the zoning ordinance of the town of Rush and section 267 of the town law, a public hearing will be held by the zoning board of appeals of the town of Rush at the Rush Town Hall, 5977 East Henrietta Road, Rush, New York, on June 16th, 2022 at 7 p.m. with respect to the following applications and any other business that may come before the board. Application 2022-1Z by Rochester and Genesee Valley Railroad Museum requesting an area variance of 39 feet deviation from the required 110 feet setback for the placement of a 10 by 16 prefab shed. The property is located at 282 Rush Scottsville Road, Rush, New York, and is zoned R30. Should I read the second one or?
Is that how we normally do it? I think we'll do one and then we can close it and then we can start the next one. Is anyone here from the railroad? Great. Would you mind? Thanks, Jeremy. Would you mind just kind of giving us a general rundown of?
Yeah, we purchased a prefab 10 by 16 Amish built shed to use for storage of our lawn, garden, and maintenance equipment. And frankly, our the left hand and the right hand weren't shaking hands because I thought somebody else had pulled the permit and they thought I pulled the permit. Anyway, the shed delivered and then we realized we hadn't pulled the permit. So we seek to site it at a location in our parking lot on the west side of the LA&L Railroad, in such a location that is convenient and effective and not to chew up our handicap parking and so forth. As it turns out, that site is the stated 38 or 39 feet closer to the center line than required. So we're asking for the variance, so we're going to move it.
Okay, sounds good. Is there anyone here that would like to speak on that? Anyone on Zoom?
No.
And I know John and Rich, you guys went out and looked at
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Anything you'd like to share with us?
It presents no hazard, no problem with sight distance. And as Mr. Took said, it does help, that location helps to preserve their handicap parking. Yeah, so.
Do you own the property that it sets on?
That's a good question. We may be just a little bit west of our property line. So that may actually fall on the town of Rush, 100-acre site, but it's east of the force main boundary. So there's really, and it's right on an embankment, so I mean, it's an area that we've been using for our parking for 35 years. So. yes.
Lori, from my perspective.
Yeah.
This might be something we need to look at. I am not sure the repercussions of granting a variance to an applicant that doesn't own the property where the land is situated on. This is something, this is news to me, so it may be something we need to look at to make sure that the ZBA can grant an application. It's obviously complicated a little further by the fact that the town of Rush is the owner of
Right.
the property.
Okay.
But, you know, in a normal situation, I don't believe a tenant or a leasee or a leaseor of the property can get a variance because they don't own the property itself. So this may be something we need to look into a little bit further.
Okay, so maybe we make a motion to, oh, go ahead.
Would it simplify things if we simply moved it off the town property?
That would,
We have to go through all this process again, but move it off of our property.
so if it was no longer on the property, then that issue doesn't present itself. Where would you move it onto your property?
Well, we would simply move it to the east onto our property, kind of in the middle of our parking lot. Or, you know, what do we need to do to comply with where it is?
It may be, maybe on part of your lease gives you that right to do it or to be the representative of it, okay? Or it may just take a letter from the town board saying that's no problem, okay? Yeah, I mean, it's not,
Yeah.
I don't foresee it being a real
Correct.
mess, okay?
The fact that the shed is portable anyways, there's no reason why you would need to prematurely move that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't move it right now.
Okay. I just wanted to keep
Yeah.
things moving because we're, yeah,
No, I wouldn't move it.
No.
It's already there,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I just don't want the zoning board to grant the variance unless the property owner, in this case, the town of Rush, has given permission. I mean, that's probably what the answer is going to be. And I'm sure it's not a giant hurdle, but it is something that we should look into and make sure we cross our Ts and dot our Is on.
Yeah, maybe in your lease where you have full power to do these things, you know, or whatever. Or you may not even need one.
I will stand by that.
So we
Yep.
can table this. for
Yeah, so I would
tonight, and
keep
then
the
you'll
public
help us?
hearing open
Okay,
and just table the application
okay,
until next meeting.
sounds good. Thank you.
You don't need to submit anything further.
Right.
We'll look into it and reach out.
When is the next meeting?
July, the third Thursday in July.
Thank you.
Thank you.
July 21st.
Thanks.
We have to motion to table it.
Yes.
Second,
Well, we've got to make.
you made the motion, didn't you?
I don't think so.
I'll make
I just nodded to Shelley.
I'll make the motion that the application 2022-01C as in Zulu be tabled until further action could be taken.
Second that.
Member Anderson? Member Anderson?
Yes.
Member Fru?
Aye.
Member Hetrick?
Aye.
Deputy Chair Hart?
Yeah.
Chair Geisel?
Is there anything you wanted to say? Sorry, Jeremy.
I'm gonna double check our survey maps just to verify that
Okay, perfect.
Perfect.
I have the correct information myself.
Right.
We'll follow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks. We have another application. Shelley, could you please read the,
Application 2022-2Z by Kathleen A. Schubach, requesting an area variance of a 10-foot deviation from the 25-foot required setback, side setback to the placement of a proposed pole barn. The property is located at 271 Kais Road, Honeywell Falls, 14472, and is zoned R30.
All right, Kathleen. is that you? Okay, hi. Do you want to give us a little rundown?
Sure, we are just looking to put a two-car garage at the end of our driveway. We realized when we started looking into it that there's this code that requires 25 feet between the joint property lines. And it's not 25 feet today. The house is from 1865, the driveway's been there at least 40 years, and in my packet, I'm sure you all saw, I tried to answer every possible question that anybody would think of. Although Mr. Hetrick came over and pointed one thing out for me, so thank you for that. But we just want to put a two-car garage that's at the end of the driveway. The house is small and one-car garage right now. It's functional. So that's the reason.
Anyone from the public, any comments?
No.
Perfect. And Lee and Rick, you
We-
guys.
We looked at the property, we looked at the lines that would be used for between the adjacent property and the proposed pole barn. Lee pointed out the setback from the road, and we were able to, that was easily accommodated in terms of the setback from the road with this particular structure. Lee, anything else? No? Good.
So I will make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
So we do,
Member,
sorry,
Member Anderson.
Yes.
Member Frew.
Aye.
Member Hetrick.
Aye.
Deputy Chair Hart.
Aye.
Chair Geisel.
so I will read a couple of the things we have just into the record. So we have from the Department of Planning and Development from Monroe County. They do not have, let's see. Kind of reading the clerk. So they have on here, just development of this property should be designed so it does not alter existing drainage facilities used by adjacent parcels.
I don't think that'll be an issue, to be honest, because the way our property is, it naturally slopes back to the wild area. And also, we're going to have to, when we got the quote for just site prep, it will need to be built up actually, and then to make it level. We'll just ask them to make sure that it drains right now.
And then let's see, I have from the Rush Fire District. They have no issues or concerns with the application as written. And the Rush Conservation Board, they've reviewed it and do not find any aspect of the project to significantly impact the environment. And I know that I saw in Kathleen's notes that she has 2 letters from neighbors across the street that were okay with the structure, and the neighbors that are adjoining on the property were okay with it, but they were maybe in the process of selling their home, so they don't want to kind of speak for new owners. But
And there's a great distance between the proposed project and the neighbor's home.
Yeah.
I would say almost what would be the equivalent of a significant lot that could be built on all on its own. Plus, there's a storage unit between that home and the shoebox property already.
Yeah, their house is the furthest building away from the property line. and their shed is closest to us, so.
Once they decide to move into their shed, then it should go okay.
Yeah.
Um, So anything else? Any questions? Concerns? You guys good?
I'll read it. Okay. Schubach variance resolution, whereas the zoning board of the town of Rush, the zoning board has examined application 2022-02Z submitted by Kathleen and Ronald Schubach of 271 Kais Road, Honeoye Falls, New York, 14472, located in an R30 district, requesting a variance of side setback requirements for proposed pole barn located near the north side boundary line. And whereas application 2022-02Z requests a variance from a side setback requirement for structures of at least 25 feet as set forth in 120-19 of the Town of Rush Code, the Rush Town Code as described in the maps and diagrams submitted with the application. And whereas the zoning board has examined the maps, diagrams, and other materials that were submitted with the application and reviewed all reports and comments from the town professional staff, the public, and other interested and involved agencies associated with the application. And whereas a public hearing on this application was held on June 16, 2022, and notice was posted as required by law. And whereas all persons at the hearing desiring to speak on the matter were heard, all correspondence was read, and all those comments and statements were considered by the zoning board. And now therefore be resolved that the zoning board determines that this is a type 2 seeker action which requires no further processing under seeker. The reason for this determination is that pursuant to 617.5C, 16 of Title 6 of the New York Code of Rules and Regulations, type 2 actions include, quote, the granting of individual setbacks and lot line variances and adjustments, end quote. And it is further resolved, the zoning board finds the following with regard to the 5 factors delineated by 120-68E2 of the town code. There will be no undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties because the placement of the pole barn is consistent with the neighborhood and the proximity of other pre-existing buildings on the road. 2, the benefit sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some other method feasible for the applicant to pursue. 3, the requested area variance is not substantial. The side setback ordinance is 25 feet from the adjoining property line. The actual pole barn placement is proposed to be 18 feet. 18 feet from the north property line at the front corner of the building and 15 feet from the north property line at the rear corner of the building, resulting in between a 7 to 10 foot deviation, which is 28 to 40% deviation. The variance would therefore result in a minor to medium deviation from the requirements of the zoning law. 4, the requested side setback variance will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. 5, while the requested side setback variance for the pole barn was self-created, the factor does not preclude the granting of the side setback variance. In consideration of the 5 factors, the benefit to the applicant in granting the variance outweighs the possible detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood. And it is further resolved that application 2022-02Z is granted as submitted, subject to the following conditions. The proposed pole barn, as proposed in the application, shall be placed no closer than 18 feet from the north property line at the front corner of the building and 15 feet from the north property line at the rear corner of the building. 2, the front of the building will be set back 100 feet from the center line of Kais Lane. And 3, no work is to be commenced on the pole barn until a building permit is obtained from the building inspector and all of their applicable town and building inspection requirements are met. So moved.
Second,
Member Anderson,
yes?
member Frew,
Aye.
member Hetrick,
Aye.
deputy chair Hart,
Aye.
chair Geisel.
Aye.
Congratulations.
So my next step is now to fill out the building permit application.
Yep.
Submit that, right?
Correct.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for coming tonight.
I didn't want to say it. No, I wanted it to be concise and.
No, it was very good.
So.
Made everything
Anyways, how-
understandable. So the only, let's see, new business that we have is just the meeting on the 28th. Robert, would you mind kind of sharing with us the joint meeting information you have?
Sure, so at the last planning board meeting in May, they discussed flag lots, which came before you last time you guys were here. And the planning board members wanted to hear what the zoning board had to say with regard to the flag lots and wanted to hear your ideas in terms of a proposal to the town board for that code. It was sort of proposed by the planning board then to meet with you and have a joint meeting. And there's obviously no problem with that from our end. So you are basically invited to attend to the next planning board meeting, which is coming up in the 28th, to share your thoughts. I think that I know Scott Strock has, his proposal for what that code should look like. The planning board members certainly want to hear from the zoning board so they could get their 2 cents as it affects that code section affects your board perhaps more than the planning board.
Is that not primary day?
The 28th? I'm not sure.
Primary date, like elections?
I think that is primary.
Should we
on the
know
28th.
Does that make a difference? I don't think
the
town
hall
closed is it?
No, but he works at the
Oh,
polls.
So that's,
All right, so if you have a conflict, I mean, there's no obligation that you attend. If you have a conflict though and you want to attend, I would let the planning board know and they can put it on for a different meeting. I mean, it's on their agenda now, but ultimately when they hear that, and if they want to continue to hear it at the next meeting, that's up to them.
okay. Well, let me check that, and see what my status is on that.
Okay.
There is no real rush on it, is there?
No,
It's just something that came up,
It's in the
right?
planning stages, basically, right?
correct,
Right.
yeah. I mean, the town board determines what
Right.
sections are of importance. So
Right.
I think that, I know that obviously Scott wants something moving on this, but ultimately, right, the town board is the body that will determine what town code sections get passed and the
Right.
importance of those. So.
I would be interested, because it sounds like the planning board has come up with a proposal from what you just said,
I would say Scott has come up with
or Scott has come, I would ask that be shared
ahead of time.
with us ahead of time,
Yes.
like sooner rather than later. And I
Well,
would,
it might be the proposal that you have seen already at the
I
last
think it's
meeting.
the one we went over.
I don't
I
think
mean,
he
it hasn't
changed it.
modified at all.
No, at the last meeting, the planning board members wanted to hear what the ZBA,
I
or
didn't
excuse me,
know that
what the
proposal.
ZBA had to
The
think.
one we talked about
and
tonight.
It was sort of communicated that at the last meeting, you guys didn't like Scott Strock's proposal, and they wanted to hear what your thoughts were generally.
Okay, and I'm presuming that we
Let
would
me look at my
hear
notes. Yeah,
their
I'm not
thoughts
sure.
for the
I think
background on that
that's
proposal,
yeah.
as well as our sharing any thoughts that we have.
Yes,
Okay,
And according to my emails,
it is.
28th is primary.
And
day.
you would like to probably be there to
Yeah.
discuss?
I'm
Yeah.
supposed to be there, so.
Yeah, no, I mean, no, at the planning board meeting,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
yeah, okay. So maybe we let them know that,
I would send an email to Scott and let him know that that may be a conflict on that date,
all
and
right, I'll email Scott, because then I want to get the proposal too, just to make sure that we have what he has, that we can all look at in the meantime.
Definitely.
Let's make sure we're all on the same
Yeah.
sheet of music.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
That's
no
good.
fist fighting during the
Yeah.
planning board. meeting, so.
All right,
All
good.
right, we good? All right, well, I would like to make a
So we're,
motion.
we're gonna reschedule that thing. That's
Yeah,
based on
I'll-
this
yeah.
discussion.
Well, it's up to, yeah, so the
I'll
planning
email
board
Scott.
meeting, planning board will be going forward on the
Right, they're gonna
28th.
do their.
What they
thing,
hear on that meeting is up to them. Well, really,
Right.
whatever's on the agenda is up to Scott,
Okay.
as the chair.
And I'll, you know, we can let them know that all of us can't make it, but we would all like to be there.
Yeah,
So if we can certainly move it to another date, that would be preferable.
Yep.
So I will email him and then let you all know. Anything else before I close? Sorry, should have asked.
That's
Okay. So I will make a motion to close the zoning board of appeals meeting from June 16th at 7:26 PM.
Second,
Member Anderson,
yes.
member Frew,
Aye.
member Hetrick,
Aye.
deputy chair Hart,
Aye.